Okay, Mario, I'm so excited about today's show. Guys, listen, welcome to Real Perspectives. Mario Brown and I have a fabulous show. My inbox has been going crazy since we put out that we were going to be talking about this topic today. So as you know, today, guys, we're going to be talking about deal makers or deal breakers. And with the deal maker and deal breaker, we are actually talking about whether or not you should share your passcodes with your significant other. So that's going to be rough, right?
It's going to be very rough. It's going to be rough.
That's going to be rough. So before we jump right in, right? Because I know we got to give our audience time to get popcorn or whatever it is that they got to do. Get some snacks so that they can tune in for what we know is going to be a really great time. So the question, my question for you, Mario, before we jump right in is, what have been some things that you've seen in your practice? So that way people won't be trying to be all in your business, right? Mm-hmm. In your practice, like has this been an issue? Let me just say that. Has this really even been an issue?
Serious issue. It is a major issue. When I say it's a major issue, it is a major issue that I've seen, and so heavy, like it's almost broken up like serious relationships, that were doing okay. But that has always been the problem, kind of sort of like, well, I have a problem with it, but I won't say anything yet. And then it somehow reaches this point where it boils over and one of the two parties feels as though I should have access to your phone, to your email, and you should openly give that to me. Why? Because we are in an exclusive relationship and we shouldn't have any secrets. And so what I've heard one of the two parties say is, well, I ain't got nothing to hide, but I just don't feel like you need to be all of my business like that. And so it becomes a sort of a contentious moment for them. So yeah, that's very serious for married couples and dating couples. It's serious.
So do you think that there should be a difference between dating and couples and married couples when it comes to this?
Well, I'd rather not say. Okay.
Well, let me say this. Okay. I'm saying, well, let me back up and phrase it this way.
Okay.
Because I guess the real question that I want to ask is there a distinction? Is really what I'm saying when I say with regard to, is there a distinction between this issue as it relates to a married couple and this issue as it relates to, Joe Blow, Jack and Jill that's dating?
Yeah. Now, I do feel that married couples have a more solid argument. I think that they really have a more solid argument because they're married. Dating couples, not that I don't want anybody who's dating to feel like I'm minimizing your commitment or anything like that. But I do feel that sometimes, and I know marriages break up too, but I think that when you're randomly dating someone, or if you've been in a kind of fresh relationship and early on you start saying, I need access to go through your phone, I need your passcode and that sort of thing, I think that may become problematic. It's too early for that. And I don't know if that is going to cause a great amount of problems or whatever. I think that when you're married, though, I think that is a sign of trust. I think that it's a sign that I don't have anything to hide and I am being totally transparent with you. In the dating scene, I think that kind of gets iffy. Like I know now I've had someone that was in a relationship. It's only been about maybe 8 months, 9 months. And they feel that they are in that position now. They're at that threshold where this becomes almost a rite of passage. That now we should be able to see your email. We should be able to see your phone. You should be able to leave your phone and go to the bathroom without the passcode being on. And I should be able to pick that phone up at any given time or even answer it. And it is literally like World War III, 4, and 5. Because the male feels that that's absolutely like outrageous. It doesn't make any sense. And she feels that all of this time, now we're sleeping together, we're doing everything together, we're going vacation together, but I don't have access to your phone. What are you hiding? So I don't know. I think it's on a case by case basis. Like, people got to read. That's a conversation, though. I think that you really need to have, and maybe you need to update your privacy status.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the comments roll through, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I think that it's an individual thing, right? I mean, I guess, I have, I'm going to talk tonight a little bit. I know you'll probably be asking me some legal questions, because that was a lot of the things that I was getting in my inbox, but I'm going to say this from a woman's perspective, a single woman's perspective, meaning me, right? I ain't speaking for all single women, because I know all single women don't think like what I'm about to say. Here's my thought on that across the board. I don't care about having your passwords, your passcodes. Even if I have it, I'm probably not going to look through your phone. I don't have time for that, right? I'm not going looking for any problems. I'm not going looking for any issues. There's nothing for me to really see, right? And I just really feel like that. Like, there's nothing for me to really see. So in my relationships, it's never been a problem, because it's not a discussion from my perspective. Like, I've never said, hey, let me get the code to your, iPad just for the purposes of, because I just need the code. Right now, if you ask me about something, or if you need me to do something, I'm going to your iPad. I mean, if it's locked, I need the code, not to commit to memory, or anything like that. So for me, this is really a non-issue. Now, let me say, I've been in a situation where somebody asked for mine. I'm the type. Now, guys, understand, just in case you want to date me. No, but seriously, if you ask, like, whatever you ask of me, you better just go ahead and be willing to give, right? So if you tell me, hey, LeTonya, I would like your passcodes, to your phone or your iPad. Now, I draw the line at email. Well, let me say this. I have a business email address that you just ain't gonna get access to, right? Because of the things that I deal with, it ain't your business, and I can't share that information. So I will draw the line there. And you can get in any other email, but if you ask, I need you to turn over yours. Like, you need to be coming with all of your login info on a note card, right? Saying, hey, babe, here you go, because I want yours. Don't ask me for mine unless you already then wrote yours down. Am I wrong?
No. Because I think what you're saying is that there must be a level of equality. Is that what you're saying?
No, it ain't even about equality. You see, to me, it's not equality, because here's the thing. I don't want yours. What I'm saying is, don't ask me to do nothing you ain't willing to do.
Okay, I got you. Well, here's an interesting thing. When I started researching this, I found out that in one study, 39% of women felt that they had a right and wanted to see their companion's phone. 56% of men demanded it. And kind of,
did you say 56?
56%, man, 56%. And 6, yeah. So, but I begin to understand it, because I think that the study goes on to say that it was not that initially there was a suspicion of cheating, but because that is prevalent in relationships, they felt that was necessary to secure a level of trust. Now, that makes sense. I mean, because that's the truth. But I don't know if that guarantees anything, because people got burner phones. People got other cell phones. People have other ways of communicating. People are communicating on apps that are disguised on phones. So that really doesn't guarantee that this is an act of I trust you necessarily. But I do understand the premise of what people are trying to get to. But I personally thought that a woman would be more suspicious of men, because basically, traditionally, we believe that men are the cheaters. But the truth of the matter is that there are a lot of women that are living dirty. that cheat just as often as men. So now men have caught on to say, yo, I may be thinking that I'm putting it down, but she's cheating. So I think that now
he might be putting it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know that's a different show. He might be putting it down, and that may have nothing to do with the fact that she cheated, right? Because there may be some other things, but to your point though, and I think for me, like I said, and I'm speaking individually myself, right? My perspective. I'm not speaking for all single women, but this is what I will say. If I need to do all that, like, trust is earned. I either trust you or I don't. And the trust is not based on you giving me access to this or you giving me access to that. Now, of course, again, people hit you up in the inbox, in the DM, whatever. And if somebody hit me up in the DM like, yo, I got the receipts on your man, right? Then they got the receipts, right? It just is what it is. But what I'm saying is that's not going to prompt me to want your phone, want your password, because I'm going to show you like, yo, so-and-so says she got the receipts on you. I mean, it say your name right there. Like, at the end of the day, we're going to have a conversation about the receipts that I received. But whether I would have your access or not, like you said, you'll find a workaround. And I think it works the same way. I was looking at some of the comments, and so
yeah, me too. I was about to go into those
I'm like, okay, so go ahead, because I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Well, no, you haven't. But we need to really get to that. But Albert says that there needs to be some privacy agreements. And so I kind of understand that a little bit. I'd like to dig more into that, but I do understand that that's a conversation you got to have. Privacy is really big because, this old saying says, well, if you go snooping, you're going to find something. That's not to say that that's right or wrong, but I'm simply saying that's a conversation I believe couples need to have. How do you feel about privacy? Because particularly in the day of porn revenge, and everybody's, making porn videos at home with, with their significant other, and they're recording, and they're, it's on your phone or what have you, which really leads me to a question I'm going to ask you. But I do think that it's important to have that conversation. I don't know how much that agreement would come together, but I do think that people need to do that, because now we have folk that are hacking accounts, which I want to ask you about. Let's just say, let me present this to you as an attorney. When a person hacks another person's account, their email, their phone, and they begin to transfer information from that device to their device or send it out, are there legal ramifications? And the reason I'm asking is because I think that some people may be committing crimes.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, a lot of that, of course, is different from state to state. You got to think, you go in the phone, but sometimes people keep the information to themselves. So, you may not know, right? You may not ever know. A lot of it comes down, or the degree of culpability, for lack of a better word, really may depend on what you do with the information. Like you were talking about, okay, now we split up, I'm releasing the sex tape, right? Now, you may have some problems with that, right? Because you put pornography out, even though it's supposed to be a private thing, between the two of you, and you're in there too. It doesn't mean that other person consented to you putting that out. So there are some implications to that. The other thing too, like I said, depends on what you do. I mean, It's people that have gotten into people's phones, go into their banking information, transferring funds, or just going through figuring out, so you done been at, what I'm saying, the Crown Plaza when you was in, what you doing there kind of thing. Right. Out of town, so there's all different. And of course, we're talking about the negative side of the passcodes and all of this type of stuff and the issues that people talk about. There are some positive sides, which I know that we'll get to later. There are some positive reasons we want to share that information. But I think like it's human nature to go to the negative things, right? Well, why you want that?
Right.
Well, snooping. But my thing is, I would say if a man asked me for my passcodes, I would see, and I'm just talking about the dating situation, I would just feel like, he's insecure. I think it's intrusive. It's kind of insulting. And if he goes through my stuff, I'm gonna feel violated.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, don't do nothing to me that you don't want me to do to you. I'm better at it.
Oh my God.
You're going to lose, right? So why even start that? Because here's the thing. You can get access to mine all day long, but you're going to give up yours first. I may never check yours. But if you hesitate when I ask you where yours are, but you're aggressive in trying to get mine, what's the problem? Because I'm going to ask you, is there a question you want to ask? I mean, do you think something? Because I'm just going to tell you the truth. I don't have time.
Right. Angelo says that he would never give his out anymore. Say he was burned, and he said he's not doing. He's in the comments. He says, never again will I do that. And I think, real honestly, I think that people have experience, particularly with advanced technology, man. I think a lot of people have experienced the negative side of it. You don't hear people talking about the positive side of sharing passwords. That's just not the conversation that we hear very often, that, oh yeah, I'm glad my girl got my passcodes because, oh, I'm glad my boo got my passcodes because. We don't hear that. We hear the very negative sides to that. And one of the things this survey said that was very interesting is that when the people went through the phones, about 90% of the time they were correct. There was cheating. So that kind of undergirds the argument of why people are so secretive. But then you think about the day in the day of smartphones, we house a lot of personal data. It's a lot of personal information on there. And so I think I understand the nervousness of people, but because some people are not cheating, but some people feel, like you said, it's really intrusive. And if I want you to have that, I'll give that to you. But it's kind of intrusive to kind of ask, because you do wonder, like, okay, well, how does this end? What's the end game with this? Because that means that makes you feel that they're watching your every move. They're looking at the speedometer the odometer rather, in your car. They may be on Find My Phone or Locate Friends, and they're it gets really spooky, I think. So I don't really know if it's a set rule, but it is a conversation that must be had, I believe, if couples are going to be, happy or, build something solid, though. I think you got to have a conversation about it.
That made me think about a situation that I had with somebody I was interested in, and they had handed me their phone for something and told me the code. And then when I handed it, I did what I need to do, and I handed it back to them. And, he said, I'm going to change it after this. Like, I'm going to change the code after this. I was like, well, that's up to you. And then we did have the conversation, because I realized that it was like, you think I'm going to go through your phone? Like, I don't think it's wrong for people if you feel like that's what you need to do. Like, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, I ain't going through your stuff, because I feel like that when you do something and you're doing something, it's going to come out in other ways.
Anyway, yeah.
Let me tell you something. Ladies know this more than men, I think. And maybe that's because I'm a lady and that's my only reference.
Probably.
Listen, if your man is connecting with another woman, you always know. You ain't got to check his phone. You always
Okay, but hold on. Let me ask you a question. That's a good point. Let me ask you this. So if that is true, and I believe it is, does the woman have to go further? Like it's almost like she knows that, like you said, she knows. You said she ain't got to go in the phone, but she does. I mean, I'm talking about, I've never seen people with superior hacking skills like women who think their man is cheating. So what do you think happens at that particular point? What do you think mentally is going on if a woman intuitively knows? What do you think from a woman's perspective happens next when she must go and gather the proof? Is it that she doesn't want to falsely accuse, even though her intuition says, I know because a woman knows? And it goes on and on. It almost is like both be getting killed.
I don't think it's the like, oh, before I falsely accuse. Again, this is LeTonya. Guys, don't think your girl think like this. But what I think she's saying is, because let me listen, this is how it go down with us, right? We ask you, right? All women are lawyers. And y'all know, what do they say? Well, lawyer never asks a question that she don't know the answer to. he or she doesn't know the answer to. So that's what women do. What women are doing is gathering evidence to see what you're going to say.
Oh, to catch you in a lie.
So if I ask you, right? If I ask you, hey, do you know Shanika Boone? Hopefully that ain't nobody's real name because I don't know nobody by that name. Do you know Shanika Boone? And you like, Shanika? No, I don't think I know her. But I got the receipts. Then at the end of the day, now you done already lied. And so now women, we just gonna go for the juggler. Oh, you don't know Shanika? You don't know Shanika? So just put it all out, right?
Yeah.
So the point that I'm trying to make is if you say you know Shanika, oh, how you know Shanika? Guys, if a woman asks you more than 2 questions about a woman, you need to just say, what you want to know?
That's right. That's exactly what I feel.
Don't put yourself in no situation to lie. I'm putting y'all up on game tonight. I'm gonna put the men. Listen, I'm gonna put the men up on game tonight because even though the study shows that men actually do this more than women, going through things, I think the publicizing of things is more of a woman's thing, which is why we think that women do it more than men. You feel what I'm saying? Like a woman gonna put you on Front Street. Let's just be honest. So guys, let me put you up on game. You saw how I asked about Shanika? He said, yeah. Do you know Shanika? Right? How you know Shanika?
Right.
And you say, well, yeah, me and Shanika went to high school together. Oh, well, did you see Shanika when you went home? Listen, don't answer that question. Just say, what you trying to know and how you know Shanika? Now, what's she gonna say? I went through your phone. I was in, you know what I'm like, what is she gonna say? The point that I'm trying to make is I'm putting y'all up on game. Don't get caught with doing nothing like that. And if you know that you're getting down with Shanika, don't let Shanika send you no text message or be in your inbox.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Ask Shanika to text your cousin.
Right. Well, Kathy Moore asked she makes a statement that why, if you're just dating, why do you need that information? So I guess my question would be kind of sort of tonight, is there any justification? Is there any legitimate justification for someone who's just dating, the status is dating, and let's just say it's exclusive? Like, is that the rite of passage that says we are exclusive because I have nothing to hide? You can hold my phone. You can make calls from my phone. In fact, there's this comedian, Desi. Desi is really crazy. Desi did a skit about his girlfriend wanting to use his cell phone. And he lost his mind. He was like, no, Candy, you ain't using my phone. And she was like, why you hiding something? She's like, he said, no, she said, well, I ain't got no charge on my phone. She said, let me use your phone. So she snatches the phone. And of course she goes in it and she sees a picture. So, he said, but we ain't even married, Candy. What's wrong with you? Now, that's the thing that I think we have to ask tonight. If you guys are dating tonight on that's on the feed tonight in the comments, do you feel that a person saying, I have nothing to hide, there's no passcode, there is nothing that I hide from you on this phone, so I'm going to the bathroom, I'm going to go to the restroom, I'm going to leave my phone right here. If it rings, you can look at it. Is that the ultimate evidence of trust now? No,
absolutely not. It's not. Oh, wait, let me address the question that was asked, right? About dating. If you're dating, why do you need that information? I think that that's the individual thing, right? If 2 people that are dating agree, they can share whatever information they want to share. Because remember, there are a lot of people that are in very, very long-term relationships that never go through the formal marriage process. So I think we have to look at the spectrum of relationships, right? We have to think about what is the status of this couple. But I also think it's an individual thing because some people feel like, look, once we say we're exclusive, we need to go to that next level and I need to be able to look all in your stuff, right? I personally don't subscribe to that. I just feel like, I think it was Albert that said he was taught never go in a woman's purse.
Right.
Said, well, just like his phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what I'm saying is there are rules, but the rules and norms are dictated by two people, right? Like for me, I guess because this has always been my rule. If you go through my phone, my text messages, my emails, my pictures, my Facebook stuff, whatever it is, if you go through that and you see something that you feel is suspicious, before you open your mouth and say anything to me, you better check the date. Because what I don't do, I ain't going back erasing nothing from before I knew you. I don't care if you find out that I used to kick it with, Billy Bob JoJo. You know what I'm saying? Because if you know Billy Bob JoJo, as long as y'all ain't boys, we should be all right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So at the end of the day, for me, that type of stuff is a non-issue. But to address what she's saying, do I think that there's a distinction between things that you share with somebody you're dating and someone that is your life mate, whether that's a marriage or, okay, we're in a life partnership and we're building life together? Absolutely, right? Because now you have said, this is it. Do I think that the end all be all is whether or not you have my passcodes? No. But let me tell you just quickly in that context, why passcodes and people having passcodes are important. Because it's not just your mate that ain't got your password. Most of the time, even whoever your mama and people like that, they don't even know your passcode.
Right.
So something happens to you. Right?
That's very true.
Think about this. Y'all watch the first 48. What's the first thing that the cops get? That cell phone.
That's
because
right.
the cell phone says what's the last thing you were doing before somebody took you out, right? So when I talk about positive reasons and legitimate reasons for somebody to have those passcodes, whether it's your mate or not, but somebody needs to have those passcodes in case something happens to you. I mean, it's to me, that is very crucial, right? Because there may be some information and some things that's needed. Now, I know that's not, we talking about relationship deal breakers and deal makers, but think about it. If you live in another state, away from your family, like I've been like that, it's just me, I have no family there. Somebody needs to have that information that's in the same place where I am.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
Because it's going to take a minute for people to find your family. It's going to take a minute for all of these things. So what I'm saying is, and this is real talk, whether it's your mate or whatever, somebody needs to be able to have access to your electronic devices because we live our lives inside of these smartphones. Right. If we have any smartphones, we live our lives inside of those smartphones. So that's something that I want everybody to take away, whether or not you give it to your boo or your bae, but somebody needs to be able to have access to that information. Now, you ain't got to get them everything, right? You just say, you know what, I'm going to send you an email and just know everything is in this, and this, because we are living at a time where getting access to information quickly is vital. Now, I will say this, when I work with couples as they're looking at, going to the next level and thinking about, assets and all these sorts of things, I do talk with them about access to information, right? Whether it's passcodes, whether it's ATM PIN numbers, because I know that's something we want to hit before we leave tonight. We talking about passcodes to your phone. I mean, what about your ATM?
Right. Absolutely.
What about access to your bank account? Would you let bae or boo just go on and check your the balance on your bank account?
Well, I hear that, and for some reason I'm stuck, because you've made very valid points that if you are in a relationship, that somebody does need to know if something happens to you, how to get to the vital information. Because you're right, we don't have our parents, on that all the time or whatever, but now you're down with this person. This is who you say you love. And if something happens, that means that we have a real serious problem. I think that, again, Albert said there needs to be an agreement. And I think I'm going to go back and stay with Albert tonight, is that's one of those things that you must converse about. That if you're getting ready to settle down with this person and you're getting ready to be with them, my thing is, be smart enough, if you're going to get in a relationship, stop doing stuff on your phone. You know what I mean? Stop doing your dirt on your phone, for real. because
I'm gonna take it a step back and say, don't get in no relationship if you still doing your dirt.
But I agree. I totally agree.
Then that woman or that man got a choice to make, right? If somebody wants to date me and I don't want to be in a relationship, but I like them, I enjoy their company, we have a great time together, we have fun, and I communicate that to this gentleman, then he got a choice to make.
Yeah.
Because I done already told you I don't want to be exclusive. Now we can keep rolling the way we roll and have a good time, whatever those terms are, whatever that means, right? Or you can let me go. And I'll understand because I can't give you what you want at this time.
Right. And I agree that you're right. That step is very good. But I think that again, when you make up your mind that you're going to be in that relationship, I think that you need to really decide how are you going to deal with the privacy issue? You know, exactly what does that mean? And do you feel that you all should exchange that information anyway? Because, you know, you said it best, like if you ask for mine, you got to give yours up, you know, and we need to talk about that because I think that the sad part about it is that sometimes when people get in these relationships, they feel like I have a right to this because I have a suspicion. But what about the person who says, no, I don't have any suspicion, but I think that this is something we should do because we are exclusive. See, one of the things I heard from someone that I thought was very intelligent, she said, well, in my book, as far as I am concerned, I take it as I'm saying to you that I have nothing to hide. Like I'm giving you my heart. She says, I don't understand how you can give someone your heart and you can't give them your phone.
I do.
But hold on. But this is what I'm saying though, is that you have a lot of people that don't think like LeTonya Moore. They don't think like Mario Brown, but they're thinking that this is an act of me expressing just how much I trust you. And I'm saying to you, I have nothing to hide. I'm all in is what that says. Because remember now,
I'm sorry. This is what I would say to that person, though.
Okay.
I would tell that person, then be prepared for your mate to say, I appreciate that. I accept that, but I'm not going to do the same. See, that's the problem. The problem is most people that say that it's because they're not, this is just great. No. They really want yours. So see, that's reverse psychology. Right? Because think about it. I'm coming at you and I'm like, you know, me and Mario, babe, you know what? I love you. So listen, here's all my passwords to my cell phone and my iPad, and this my code to my computer and whatever else you know, I'm just giving to you. You know, I love you, babe. Here you go. And you know what? I'm going to be standing there expecting you to give me
the same thing. Absolutely.
Don't, I'm going to be mad. So what I'm saying is that's not genuine. That's disingenuous. It's disingenuous and it's a ploy and a plot really to get yours. Because you know what? When somebody goes, of course they don't have nothing to hide.
Yeah. And I don't, you know what? And you know what? I don't necessarily, when really thinking about it, I think it's sadder that the phone has become equal to a person's heart and trust.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, I think we are really bad off when that is the sign that I trust you, that I'm committed to you, that I'm going to give you access to all of my passcodes.
Let me tell you something. There are people, and I know, look, y'all ain't got to say nothing for our viewers. You don't have to say anything, but I know some of y'all will give people keys to your house. You will give them the passcode to your home alarm.
That's right? True.
So they can let themselves in and out, right?
That's
you will have unprotected sex, let's be real, with people, but you will not give them the code to your phone. Yeah,
that's wild to me. That is so wild to me.
Or you won't let them drive your car, but you'll have unprotected sex with them.
Right.
And I'm not judging. What I'm saying is we have to be practical to really think about what we're saying. I will hand you access to control my life, but you can't look at you can't look through my text messages or my emails.
Absolutely.
Right. So and I'm not saying one way or the other how people. I don't care how you have sex. Right. Have as much unprotected sex as possible if that's what you do. Like Just I got to say that because I don't want no nasty messages in the inbox telling me whatever.
Right.
So I got to put that out there. But what I'm saying is, think about the gravity of that.
Absolutely.
You know, so what I'm saying is, what is the big issue? And that's because that's how, for me, like, I guess I don't have an issue because, and maybe it's the lawyer in me, right? We're taught that, you know, you don't write stuff down. You know, you don't communicate in that way. So it's hard for me to conceive that. But real talk, like somebody on here said, when you're dating, no, but when you're married, hide nothing. But my thing is it hiding? Am I hiding something because you ain't got the passcode? You feel what I'm saying? It's the perception that if I don't have this, then you're hiding. And I don't think, I don't agree with that.
Absolutely. Because you know what, Belinda said something. Belinda said, my love and heart is not based on giving access to my phone, bank account, passwords, etc. And I totally agree with that, because that's what I'm saying now, is that somehow or another we have equated this whole secrecy or privacy issue. And I know why, because I'm not oblivious to the fact that people have been cheated on, people have been deceived, you know, with online dating. There's all this kind of stuff. I think that everybody has to perfectly understand how you feel about privacy. You need to be very clear going in what you think about privacy. You got to be smart enough to hear what you just said, that if somebody comes to you and tell you, oh, here's my stuff because this is a display of my love, and this is an expression, like, yo, shut that down, because you're getting ready to be set up when you know you don't feel that way about nothing to hide, but you don't feel that I need to give you that to express my love. I don't need to become that open to you over, you know, this issue of love.
Absolutely. Because think about it, as a woman, right? Let's say that there was a situation where I was dating a guy and he was doing everything that I wanted him to do to make me feel love, right? Communicating with me in my love language, I'm communicating with him in his love language, and then all of a sudden, right, I want access to the phone. I want access to, you know, some electronic device, right? And he tells me no. Mm-hmm. In the average scenario, now that person asking that doesn't get access is then gonna not look at all the other stuff that you're doing.
Absolutely. And
now they have a problem. So that's what I'm saying. This to me, it's a control thing.
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's right.
It is a control mechanism, and I think it's a problem. Now, again, I go back to, but people can freely exchange information, but I believe that you got to respect the person that does not want to, right? Now, here's the caveat. If you know that you don't want to give yours, don't take the other person's. Don't be all in their stuff. Even if you tell them no, don't take theirs.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if you get it, you definitely gonna look.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. You probably are gonna do that, and that's unfair as well.
Absolutely. I think it is. And I think that I want to go back to the control issue, because I think that is a mechanism of control. And I think that it is a display of insecurity. And I think that we've lost the basis of just learning to communicate and trust on nothing external, but based on the fact that I know I'm not lying to you. If you're lying to me, it's going to come out, but I'm not getting ready to let an electronic device be the demonstration that I trust you, because some people can be doing stuff and never do nothing on their phone because it's going on at work. And we ain't got to say nothing on the phone because both of us are smart enough not to do that. So that's still no guarantee. And I think it's a false sense of security if you rely upon the access to a person's personal information. Because here's the thing, too, we got just as much record of people taking that information, doing something diabolical, doing something deceptive, using it in a negative way. People know how much money you got, so they start saying, I ain't got no money, because they're going in doing things. That's the truth. So that's why I kind of think, Tonya, that is one of the conversations that grown people got to have. You got to really have it. You got to be real grown to have that conversation and be so serious about where you stand on it, and don't move. Like, whatever you feel, don't move on that. That's where I feel about it. If you're strong enough on that privacy matter, don't move on that. Not at all.
Right. And I think that that you're right. One of the things I want us to get to, and I've seen some people talk about the ATM, the passwords, the bank accounts, and things like that. I really want to get to that because to me, like I see some people saying, well, dating, no, married, yes. I don't know I ain't married. Right. So, I'm saying this speaking about something that married people share so I'm not in that situation. So I'm saying that for the audience's benefit, right? For me, I don't necessarily think that you need to have, like, you could look at it if you just want to know, like anything else, but you don't need to have my PIN number, right?
Right.
Now we can share information. We can share information. We can, and all of that. I don't necessarily think that you need my PIN number. Now, there are people that, depending on, especially certain faith-based communities, feel like, well, once we become one, everything is one. Well, that's fine. And you can do that. And then if things go wrong and, you get served with the papers and go to the bank and you got $5, the bank account's still open.
Yeah.
Right. So now let me take that hat off and put the lawyer hat on. Right. Because understand that that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, if the relationship goes south, that person has a legal right to all of the money in the account, just like you do, men and women. Right. Now, I'm not telling nobody to have no side secret. I ain't telling you what to do. I'm just letting you know the implications of your actions. Because again, when we do that premarital discussion, right, I'm talking to people about that. So how y'all doing the bank accounts? You add them, they're gonna have access. Are y'all going to keep your separate bank accounts, but agree to a household account? Do you have that discussion about, okay, anything over, a lot of couples have like a $700 threshold, right? You can spend in whatever, it's $700 or less. You ain't got to ask me about it, right? Some of them got $50 threshold. Some say, well, come to me if you need some money. Everybody got their own setup, right? But what I found is that the money discussion is always the issue. So what I'm saying, we could talk about all types of things with regard to that, but I saw someone posted in, like, as far as the ATM, like, no, they're like, yeah, your PIN number, like, yeah, they could wipe you out. Absolutely. They could wipe you out. The other thing too is, folks, you got to ask yourself, what's in your record? See, people think about the money, but they don't think about the evidence, right? Pull your bank statement. Your bank statements tell every spot you done took. It tell what side of town you done been on because you got gas at the Chevron, right? Or you went through the drive-through at McDonald's and they had no cash. And then the question is, well, what you doing on the south side of town? You don't work over there. Well, see, you're adding some problems. Because one thing about a debit card and bank statements and transactions like that, it shows your entire financial footprint. Now, again, I'm talking from a legal perspective. I ain't got to have you, listen, this is how I feel about it. Let me put my woman hat on, right? If we go to dinner and you paying, dang it, I don't want the card to decline. That's it. That's it, right? If we're together, right, and your responsibility is to pay the utilities, I want to be able to come on, pop the light on, and the light come on. I want to be able to get in the shower and the water runs, and I also got hot water. If I have a gas stove, I want to be able to cook, and I want the gas. I don't care. I ain't worried about it. As long as you do what you're supposed to do, I'm okay with it. As long as I come in the house and pop, as long as the repo man don't come get my car that you're paying for, I'm not concerned about your money. Because you know what? If we split, listen, I got the chops to find out where I need to go to get my piece.
But you know what? But ultimately, I think ultimately we're talking about control issues and insecurity. I think that's what it boils down to: insecurities and control issues. Because again, why are you with anybody that you can't trust anyway? And so my thing is, if it's that bad, then you need to get out of that, quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I'm sorry, I was looking at a comment.
Yeah. But I feel like, you know, if you with somebody that you really, really feel is really sad. I think it's sad for a person that you're staying with somebody that you are up in arms every single day about where they are. You need to know where they are. So now you got to get their bank statements because this is what you need to feel secure. Even when you don't have anything that points that is something going on. I mean, come on, for real. So I think that you're about to
here's something else. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I think that you're about to really deal with a deeper issue, and I think if you start the first time you start giving them a little bit of access, it's going to grow into something that's huge. They're going to want to know every single
Absolutely.
And to me, that's a sign of psychological and emotional abuse is about to take place eventually, because that means you went down to the Kroger. The Kroger is 5 minutes from the house. You went in there and you've been gone an hour. You were only going to get milk and cereal, and you just getting back. Where else you been? That's going to explode.
Yeah, see, you're absolutely right. And that's a part of what I'm saying, this entire culture of tracking people. Here's the thing, I know there's a distinction between dating and marriage and life partnership and all of those things, because it should be normal for a couple to discuss what they have to do that day, right? That's normal, right? So you should know what I got to do. Now, yeah, I don't have a problem with somebody asking me stuff. I don't think that's what we're advocating. But I do think, like you said, you bring up something very interesting when you say about going to the Kroger and you're gone. First of all, why are you tracking how long it takes?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
like you said, a lot of this really stems from insecurity. Some of this, let me say this, stems from insecurity and control issues. I do think when we're talking about marriage, and I know Mario, I mean, you can speak to this better than me, but oftentimes I know during the counseling phase and the premarital phase, you guys do talk about don't have anything that's going to create problems. So if that phone don't create a problem, if it's yes, you may need to have that conversation and consider that, because the question is, why have something that's going to have a problem, especially if you're dealing with people that have made it through a betrayal that dealt with this.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is an absolute when someone says yay or nay in terms of that. And I wanted to make sure that we talked about that before we do sign off, because it's very important for people to know that, again, this is an individual thing. If you know that you ain't never gonna want to share the phone, like I was laughing because Sophia was like, as soon as she asked for my phone, I'm gonna hand her the cell phone bill to pay.
Right. I agree.
Right. I agree too. But you handle that bill, she got every phone number you done called you.
But you know what? Let me say this.
He's talking about as I want to just press this real quick. He's talking about as a practical matter, right? You want to go to my phone, okay, then you're responsible. I get that. What I'm saying to people in general is that understand what it means when you give access to stuff. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, one of the things I want to go to when I deal with couples, and believe it or not, LeTonya, when I tell them that these are conversations they need to have, people want to avoid these conversations. You know what? They don't really want to talk about them until they've already caught them doing something or whatever. But I'm saying, like, on the front end, you need to have this conversation. What is it that you've had happen to you before this current relationship in the area of cheating, deception, and all of that? Because you may be bringing that suspicion over into the new relationship. Now, this person hasn't given you any type of indication that they're that person, but you bring it in, and now you have this set of demands that you need to build you back up in the area of security. Now, the person is not built for that. You got to be honest enough, people, for real, hear me tonight. Be honest enough to say you're not built to be watched like that, to be monitored that way. And it's not because you have anything to hide, but it's because you want to reserve something for yourself. There needs to be some privacy left for yourself, particularly on the dating end, because I don't know what we're going to be. I'm not sure if we're going to last. And so we need to have something that is somewhat, roped off. If you want to just say that, there needs to be some parameters So I feel like that's a conversation that people need to have very honestly. They need to be able to say, yo, up front, let me tell you how I am about my phone. Don't touch my phone. I'm not going to touch yours. If somebody calls me, I don't want you answering my phone. And if you think that that's because I've got something to hide, then I understand. That's okay. But this isn't going to work. But I do believe in the day of technology, people have been cheated on while people were sitting up there looking at them and they're texting and they're doing that. So I don't want anybody tonight to feel like, well, Tanya Mario unreasonable. They just don't understand what happened to me. Trust me when I tell you, I do understand exactly what has happened. I know why you feel insecure. I know that you know the signs when you see them. But I think on a logical sense, you owe it to yourself to say, I got to have this conversation because I have experienced this and I'm not going to beat around the bush about it. We are two adults and we need to talk about it. Then you got to put that radar on to see if that joker lying. You know when he lying and you know when she lying.
Here's the thing. When you said something very crucial, and I want people to understand, if you're sitting across the table or next to a potential significant other or significant other, y'all gotten to that point and you have this conversation and you realize that this is a deal breaker for you. Because that's what we're talking about, right? Deal maker, deal breaker. That it is a deal breaker for you if this person doesn't share that and they have told you exactly how Mario, presented it. You got a choice to make, right? Because why continue knowing that this is going to be a problem for you and create suspicion in your head, or real suspicion, right? So then you got a choice to make. What I want everybody to do is love yourself enough to say,
absolutely,
this doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because the other person may tell you where you're being insecure and you're being this, and maybe you're not. Maybe like Mario said, you're just like, look, I just need this because I done been down this road. I don't want it. Again, think about like domestic relationships, right? Where people have been in like violent relationships, men or women. Lots of them say, don't rush me, don't run up on me, don't jump in my face.
Right.
Because that was the precursor before to next thing you know, you bleed. So they want you to not do. It's a trigger. That's the word I was looking for. It's a trigger for them. So you have to think, if you know that this is a trigger for you, love yourself enough to say, hey, this person is not willing to give me what I need so that I can be secure in this relationship. And you have to be okay with, that's your deal breaker, right?
That's your deal breaker.
I have been in situations with people that I've said, my deal breaker is this, like, I can deal with a lot of stuff, but when you do this right here, that's it for me. And they did it, and it was it. And we don't argue now. We don't, the time, like, we got cordial, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I would not go back there because I realized that you don't respect me enough not to come for me and my triggers because you got an issue about something else.
Well, let me interrupt you.
That's who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I want to be sure because we run out of time. There's an interesting comment. Kathy says, is it that people are scared to ask the question because they don't want to be alone? I really want to address that. This is a serious issue. Is it the reason, I guess you're saying, is the reason that the people don't want to have the conversation about where they are, what their triggers are, as you just stated? Is it that they don't want to be alone? Let me say this to you, because this is my area. I don't care what anybody says about, oh, they don't want to be alone. If you're going to stress yourself out to have a stroke, you're going to put your life in danger. You're going to have high blood pressure because on the front end, you can't take that. The critical piece to this is be honest with yourself and stop going into these relationships, trying to change folk, trying to see the best in them, keeping hope alive. You're going to have to be totally honest. You're going to have to be integral to yourself. I see what I see. I know I've seen that before. I'm not built for that. Alone is better than being in that hospital hooked up to tubes because somebody had a stroke trying to run behind somebody that's clearly not going to behave properly.
Absolutely. So and here's the thing. It may not be proper behavior, but that's their behavior. Right. Remember, we talked about last time about, you know, people's values and things like that. And I think that we have to, again, we have to get to that place where we love ourselves and we want to be healthy all around.
Self-preservation. Self-preservation.
Yes,
you know what I mean? It's got to be self-preservation, you know. And I get, you know, I see so many people sometimes, man, you know, I know when I see a person who fears being alone, and I know that they start expanding their tolerance for narcissistic behavior. They start expanding their tolerance for that bipolar behavior that's legitimate. And they think they can stay there and fix it. Like if you learn to stay there, you learn to take it. You learn to accommodate it, and it only gets worse. I would encourage anybody that being alone doesn't mean you're lonely. That doesn't make you don't have to be lonely because you're alone, but it will preserve your life and stop premature death. If this type of relationships makes your hair fall out, it puts you on medication, you lose your job, you lose your self-worth, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. So I'm encouraging you, don't let the fear of being alone stop you from taking a proactive approach to self-preservation.
Get a dog.
Get a bird, get a cat.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
go volunteer.
You can listen. The animal shelters guys are like busting the scene. I need you to adopt our furry friends. Not just kidding.
You are petty tonight. You are petty tonight.
I am being petty, but to address that though, that is really a crucial fact because I think that some people they do want to be connected to somebody, and let's be clear, because I've been in some situations like that where, but you always think about when it ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the good times, a lot of times, will far outweigh the bad. But the bad so bad, you just like, okay, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Right. Because the bad is so bad, you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. But you do think about the good times. You do think about what you meant to each other during that time. But you cannot let that dictate your present health status. You can't let that dictate the rest of your life. I know we have a short time left. So Mario, I'm just gonna ask you straight up. Should people, do you recommend, because you're the life coach, do you recommend that people share that information? And if so, when and how much should they share?
Personally, LeTonya, in a dating situation, I don't think that you should share anything. I just honestly do not believe that you need to share anything. And then I'll go a step further, that you're not comfortable sharing and are willing to deal with the consequences of that sharing. Because there may be consequences. And if you decide, because I think that everybody has to make their own decision, if you decide to share that information, you're also saying, I'm willing to deal with the fallout of it. And so it means also you have to ask yourself the question, if I share the email and I share the passcode on the phone, what's next? You just have to be ready that that's going to spiral into something else. And so what I say to each individual, because I'm kind of learning not to impose my personal view on it, but I want people to make an adult decision about it because it does carry certain consequences. And you just got to be ready for that. I think that once you make that adult decision about it, you just need to say to yourself, if I share this information, what comes after this? And what if it goes left? Can I deal with that? All right. And the next thing is, if I want their information, would I get the same, respect, or would they give me the same leeway? But I don't want it. So I just think that everybody has to decide. I don't know if the dating is the right space and time for that. I just don't believe that. I think that once you get married, maybe, I think that there is a reason for that. Even if you have a separate account and maybe a joint account, I think someone else pointed that out. I think that that's okay. But when it comes to all these passcodes and all that kind of stuff, I don't think anybody asks for it that much. In my practice, I see they don't ask for it unless there's something that they suspect. So I don't think that that's just always the norm. So I don't know. I just feel like have the conversation, but be ready for the fallout, whichever way it goes. Be ready for that.
Yep. And what I would add to that is, and that could be up to and include walking away.
Yeah.
If it is that important to you, where it is on the deal breaker side, if you're indifferent, then great. But if it's on the deal breaker side, you have to be at a place where you're willing to walk away. So this has been interesting. I know this is like a seed, right? Because it could go in 1,000 different directions. Yeah. We want to thank all of you for being with us. Again, just like, I really want to encourage you guys, if this is something that you're dealing with, reach out to Mario. You can contact him at mariocbrown.org. Get a free session, right? Yeah. Get a free session so that you can really, if you know that if you're not in a relationship, but you know that this is something that you deal with, and you may find your Mr. or Mrs. Right who doesn't want to do that. Get with Mario now so you can resolve your personal issues regarding that, because you don't want to let go of the right person for you because of something like this, when you can develop tools on how to deal with,
right?
How to deal with it or find a workaround where you can be okay with not having that information. I would definitely encourage everybody to do.
Right. And let me say this, because this was my concern. If you are the kind of person that is very vengeful and you have access to a person's personal information, and you're vindictive and you're thinking about, sharing that information, doing something crazy, you need to call LeTonya. And you need to ask her. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Let me tell you why. Y'all don't call me, because I done told y'all tonight what's going to happen.
Listen, don't get it. If you get in jail, call her. If they come get you and you get a case, call her. Because we don't want you to do that. But just in case, you need to really make sure you understand, like, this may not be the thing you want to do. Because I understand people get really hot, they get mad. There are revenge porn laws on books on various states and stuff like that. So you don't want to get into the criminal acts. You want to know that, okay, whatever I do, it may have some legal ramifications that I'm not prepared to pay. All right.
And for those of you that were not on earlier, when I was talking about the positive reasons to share, just before we go, understand that now we live our lives in our phones. Lots of us have other things in our note sections that people need in case something happens to us. So that's really, for me, that's where my mind goes when I say, and I know we're talking about dating. It doesn't have to be a mate. It could be a best friend. It could be someone that you truly trust. It could be your lawyer, right? It could be those folks that will know or be notified if something happens to you.
That's true.
If you are using someone as an emergency contact at your job, they definitely need to have this information, because they are going to be the first one to call that's called when you don't show up for 2 days, right?
That's right.
So I want you guys to think about the larger implications of this. Also, again, if for real, you have been that person, that you've been snooping, or you've been the person that's been snooped on, and you've had some things happen to you, you can certainly reach out to me. I mean, I kid around a lot and I tell people don't call me with crap, but I'm just really being serious. You can definitely reach out to me, and my website is www.iprotectyourbrand.com. Set up a time to talk about the situation so that we can guide you in the best direction so that you don't get in trouble. But thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you guys.
We're going to be back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Go over to the Real Perspectives TV show page. Give us a review. Make sure that you like the page, because we are going to be in there throughout the week talking about these very issues and sharing a lot of information. So you get a lot more than just the live show when you come to our Real Perspective show page. So once again, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Until next time, have a good day.
Have a good night.